Doesn't do me any good to offer the best album out there or the best canvas or the best metal print if I have to charge a price that no one ever buys it.
Hello and welcome to The Edit. Whether you're starting out or starting over, we're here to help you exactly where you're at. I'm very excited to be with you today to talk about wall art. I am Whitney from Minneapolis.
I'm Amanda from Seattle.
And I'm Erin from Nashville.
We're going to start today talking about canvases because this is the number one product that we sell. It's really interesting now because canvases, when I started out, you really could only get it through Pro Labs. And now you can get canvases anywhere. There is absolutely a quality difference that we can see. However, our clients aren't always able to see this. And sometimes you almost have to be able to show that it's your work that you're selling, not necessarily the canvas. If that makes sense.
Makes sense. Yep.
So I am going to start by showing you the canvases that I had. And I almost only sold canvases. What I did, we had a studio or an office space, and we would buy the largest canvases we could because we knew that if a client sees this giant canvas, they're probably not going to buy the biggest thing they see, but they might buy something a little smaller because when you hold up like an 8x10 next to a giant canvas, then it looks tiny.
Yes.
I do not still have my giant canvas anymore. I actually painted over it. So before we get into canvases, if you have canvases and your client doesn't want it, so that you're not just trashing it, you can probably find artists or painters that would take them for free.
100%. I've got artist friends who love that.
Yeah. They might even buy it too. Who knows? But I have a few over here. So these, they're big. These are my biggest 30 by 40s. And these two I'm going to show you are the first two that I bought. So this was maybe like 18 years ago.
Ooh, and this will be good to see what the quality looks like.
Yes.
After 18 years.
This is from Miller's. And I believe, but I know at least one of these was shot on a Canon 10D.
Oh, that was like my first digital camera.
Yes.
Memory.
And it's an 8 megapixel camera. Now, I love upgrading cameras. However, I was still able to print a beautiful 30 by 40 canvas with an 8 megapixel camera. Yeah. And I still shot weddings with this very slow camera, and they came out fine. I'm not recommending to go buy a Canon 10D, but I also you do not have to have the best of the best. When it
Canvas
comes to
is forgiving, is what you're getting at. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Canvas is forgiving. So
and the one thing I feel like that everybody always, I think the thing that people forget is that when it's a large print like that, you're not coming up and looking at it up close. You're just not. You can't see the whole thing. You're stepping back. You're taking a look. And so it doesn't have to be that super fine, sharp image because a canvas doesn't lend itself to that. You're not going in close. It's like if you go to billboards are not super sharp, you just see them from so far away and they look sharp. So I feel like that's one thing to keep in mind too, is that when you're printing canvases and large images, they don't have to be like the sharpest sharp.
By the way, listener, if you are listening to this on a podcast and you want to see what we're talking about, hop on over to YouTube and look for The Edit.
Whitney, that was beautiful.
Actually, thank you. And now I'm going to set it down. This is a bride.
Do you remember what size that is?
It was the 30, you said 30 by 40, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my goodness. Those are so beautiful.
I love the story that's telling. That's a beautiful piece of art.
What's the mounting on those ones?
So thank you. I was not ignoring you. I realized when I stepped back that my microphone was not.
Yeah.
Right. No, it's all good. I figured that was why you were.
Normally do.
So these 30 by 40, we've got and I'm going to show you, this is a smaller canvas that I have, and the backing is similar. So this is the image bride. And then the backing, there's a paper backing stapled over it. They're wood frames. This one has a hook. The larger ones are the wire that go across. And actually, in the comments of this, if you're watching this on YouTube, we have links to some really great canvas hangers and photo hangers and wall art hangers so that you guys can check them out. So that's what the larger canvases are like. But, even if you were here looking at the larger canvases, they're not, super tack sharp, but they're still pretty sharp. It doesn't look wrong or bad. So I want to know, and I know you two sell canvases as well.
Yes. It's funny. I feel like, at least with my clients, that's not the biggest thing. I actually don't. This last year, I sold one canvas. That was it. Wow. I had to actually go get them pricing, because it's not on my price list, because most of my clients, it's not the look that they're going for. Most of my clients want something a little bit more modern, a little bit, I don't know, they want something that's a little different than what a lot of their friends have. And so I ended up really gravitating towards metal prints and standouts. So those are my big things that I sell to clients. So I do offer canvases, but I really one a year, maybe I sell, and that's it. So I'm not talking about canvases at all today. I don't have a preferred lab for those ones. So what I wanted to share today, I'm going to go with the metal first, because those have the place in my heart. And for everybody out there, if you are wanting to get samples of different wall art to see for yourself, or to have them to show your clients, so many of the labs run sample sales, usually at the beginning of the year. But you can take advantage of really good savings. So both of these I purchased through one of the savings that Pro DPI, one of their sales they were running. So this is a very shiny metal. This is the high gloss. That's awesome. With metal prints, you can get either a white base or you can get a clear base. So I have to move back even farther. This is even a very big one. But you can get a white base, which really helps your colors to pop. You can also get a clear base, but I have found that my colors don't pop quite as much. So I always go with a white base for those. This one is, again, that really ultra gloss. You can see it as I'm just kind of letting it go towards the light there. It really lends itself to certain colors. So I find if my clients are wearing these really bright, bold colors, that the really shiny, glossy look just looks amazing. The green in the trees stands out. I love it. It's not for every image, though. I feel like that's one thing. You really have to find the image that fits for the metal.
Now, I'm curious, Amanda, how do you then, let's say a client is I want metal, and they have an idea of an image they want, and you do not think it looks well. How do you respond to that?
Part. Sometimes I'll tell them, if we switch this to black and white, it'll have a little bit more pop, because you can get a lot more contrast because that's the thing, is if you don't have a lot of contrast in the image, I find that the metal just doesn't pop as much. But if you switch it over to black and white, then you can up that contrast and it looks really good. The one thing I'll do if they really want to do a metal, though, is I will try to get them over towards this matte. So this is a matte metal. Okay. So you can see it's definitely, I'm aiming it towards my window right now. So it's not as shiny, but it does still have some shine.
I love that.
But that's
I love the matte.
Yeah, so these were softer colors that my client was wearing. The blue of the lake was really soft too. So I felt that the high gloss just wasn't going to give it quite what I wanted. So this is the matte. Same thing with you can have the choice of the white base or the clear. I went with white. And just this one, it just works a little bit better. So if I can't convince my client to go black and white, then I will try to push them over towards the matte, just because I feel like it just works really well. And most of the time they listen to me, most of the time. Not always. But the hanging,
you just have to do it.
Yeah. And so I order mine from Pro DPI. I feel like I just constantly sing Pro DPI's praises, but there is something about the way that they print with the images I take that I just love, and I just can't get enough. So these, as far as hanging hardware goes, you have the option to do a wire hanger, which works pretty well. I don't always love the wire hangers because when I'm hanging them for a client, I actually find it's really hard for me to hang them sometimes and get the exact angle and right height that I need. So a lot of times I actually prefer doing the gator board mounting, which is really great. It's really easy and it's a little bit more precise. So it's easier for me to hang up on my clients' walls. These are so lightweight though, especially if they're smaller. Like this is an 11 by 14. So you can even use like the 3M hangers, like the little Velcro ones. And I've done that before. I just did that for a client actually a week ago and it was great. They're super lightweight, which is why these are another option that's awesome for families with kids. Lightweight's always nice. And then what I love about both these types of metal is that they've got it comes out a little bit. So it looks like it's floating on your wall when they're being hung, which I think is also a really cool look. Same thing with these ones. I'll kind of show to that side too. So it's pretty substantial where it hangs out and it just has a really cool look to it. The other product that I love are Standouts. This one's a collage one, but typically I'll print just one image on there. But I liked having a collage to show my clients what they can do. So these ones, it's just for me, I get luster, but a luster print, and it's mounted on a foam board. So it's like this foam core that I get the 3/4 inch thick. And then they've got the hanging holes on the back. Again, a lot of times I'll just even use the 3M Velcro strips because they literally are like so lightweight. An awesome option for families with kids. You can do white banding on the side. You can do black banding. And then you can also, I think they have bamboo now, if I remember correctly, for Pro DPI, which is who I order these from. And same thing, you can do like a higher gloss if you want with the, I'm like, what is that called that goes on top of it? Like, I love that I'm playing it. My brain has just gone blank. You can coating. There we go. That's
coating, yeah.
You can get like a coating on top of it that makes it a little bit more shiny if you want. I tend to like luster. It's just kind of a really pretty look there. But these ones my clients really like because, again, they're easy to hang. They're really easy to pull off. You can rearrange them if you want. But yeah, I love the printing quality. And Pro DPI, again.
Yeah. And they're a little more affordable. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
That's the thing. Metals are definitely more on the expensive side. Especially the larger you go, it definitely gets pretty expensive. They're beautiful, but the cost can definitely be prohibitive. Whereas the Standouts, it really is pretty affordable. And one of my clients, I gave her a quote on a canvas versus a Standout, and she went with a Standout because it was that much cheaper. Sure. It was just like, I don't have to up my, there you go. Better value. I just couldn't, I can't justify a lot of the times, offering my client something that, again, is just going to be, maybe out of their price range. And if they want something big to fill a wall, then to me, that's a really great option where the quality still looks phenomenal. It's not just like a print. It's just this beautiful display art for the wall. And plus, the other thing I love is that clients like to show it off. And so if they refer their friends, a lot of times they're like, oh, I saw these in, my friend's house and I want that too.
We used to offer the Standouts. I don't know who we is. I used to offer Standouts when I'll explain that in a second. When I shared a studio and I was doing more newborns or really like baby plans.
Yeah.
So this would have been more than a decade ago because I wasn't specializing in seniors at that point. But the Standouts were great for those baby planners who knew that they were going to be doing multiple pieces of art throughout the first year, one of the more expensive years of parenthood, that first year.
Yes.
And so the Standouts we loved, and we had those on the studio wall. They still do at the studio. Lots of babies, because that was more of the clients for us, because I was photographing all sorts of things at the time. And it was funny, you get certain types of clients, certain types of sessions that are ordering one product and just they were doing what they could afford to get multiples throughout the year. So the Standouts, I've not purchased one in years, but I used to love them and purchase them all the time.
Yeah, that's my number one art, like wall art seller. The metals are behind that, and then canvases are way behind. But like it's just that Standout. It just looks awesome. Again, it just makes a really big statement, and it's more economically priced, if you will, than a canvas or a metal.
And I think too, a lot of times, and we've noticed this with a lot of our photographers that we work with Swift Galleries, is that you can have a higher profit margin on something like the Standout. Yeah. So when we say affordable, it doesn't mean you can't make a large amount of money from selling these.
Yeah.
Because rather than with a canvas, if you're, paying, some of these large canvases can be hundreds of dollars.
Yep.
Right. You maybe don't want to mark it up times 4, right? To actually have someone want to buy it. You could have something like a Standout that you can mark it up even more than 4 times and still make more money from that. So it could really give you profit.
Speaking of which, I'll jump into mine because
let's hear it.
My best seller, so I'm primarily senior portraits, and I sell canvases all the time. It is rare that I have a client that doesn't get a canvas. My packages, and of course, that's because that's what I'm showing. That's what I'm telling them to get probably. But my collections, the bottom 2 have prints, have larger prints, and the top 2 have canvases. That top package that I have has 3 12 by 18s because my clients typically wear 3 outfits on their photo shoot. So we can do one
I love that. Yes.
3 vertical. And in the studio that I had for over a decade, there was always 3 senior portraits of the same girl above the couch. And so they would come in for their order appointment or their consultation or their session, and they would always see this one girl with her 3 portraits above the couch. So because of me, you sell what you show. So canvases have always been my best seller. But since I know that Whitney was talking about canvases today, I had pulled out some metal, and then Amanda covered metal really well. I like what you said you were talking about glossy and matte. I always wished that I had gotten this sample in glossy. I regretted it when it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. I very rarely suggest a glossy metal because one of the things that is sort of a pet peeve of mine is glare. When my clients get framed prints, we take the glass out of it. When we order, I just don't do a lot of glossy stuff because I want you to be able to look up at the wall, whether the lights are on or the sun is shining in, and not have glare. So I went with matte, and I regretted it with this one, with this metal print. And so I think it was just worth pointing out. I love that you said that you're steering your clients towards the product that fits their image, because I think that's important. I think that's part of what we're offering as professionals. So I won't really talk about metals though today. I'm going to have to move my chair back, and it's probably going to make noise. That wasn't too bad.
That wasn't too bad.
That wasn't too bad. So this giant sample here, it's actually just a 16 by 24, but because I'm sitting close to the computer, it looks huge. This is acrylic. This is from Bumblejacks. And in a recent episode where we were talking about products, I showed the Bumblejacks acrylic block in a 1-inch block, and you guys loved it. Yeah. So canvases are my top seller. Metal is the next one, and acrylic, because Whitney, it is more of an expensive product for me, and to have the appropriate markup, it is the most expensive product for my client. I don't sell these as much, but when I do sell them, everyone goes crazy over them. And I've noticed that my referral rate for the clients who get acrylic prints and put them up in their house, I almost always get somebody coming to me that says, I saw this print in so-and-so's house.
Awesome.
And so because no one else in the area. I mean, not no one else in the area. I can't say that, but it's just not as common. And it is a conversation starter when they put this on the wall and then they have their friends over for something. And so that's interesting that, you know, if I can ever offer my clients a sale, like if Bumblejacks is running a sale and I can extend that to my clients, I've thought in the past, like, I really should be pushing these more because there's such a
because if they
good,
help your referral rate, then I mean, that's amazing.
right. But in order for me to actually, because you know, if I lower the price in general and I sell them all the time, but I don't make the appropriate markup, it doesn't make any sense. So that's the hard part about business. But these are from Bumblejacks. Here's why I love the Bumblejacks acrylic prints. It's going to be hard to see this, but they have, instead of printing on acrylic, which is what some of the cheaper, for lack of a better word, companies have done, which in that process, over time, it's not going to hold up. You don't want a company that's printing on acrylic. It's the cheaper way to do it, and then you can buy a cheaper product for them, but it's not going to stand the test of time. But with Bumblejacks, they're printing on paper and then putting this plexiglass over top of it. And so, yeah, so they do a really great job on their website of walking you through the process, and there's a video of it. This sample is 7 years old and has been through 2 studios, 2 houses. Like, this thing has been transported.
Been around.
It has been around. And there is not one single piece. I mean, like, I have metal prints that have like nicks in the corner because they've just been put in moving boxes so many times. This girl here is holding true. So the back of it
awesome.
Is this, it's hard to see, but there's a lip here. And so it does come with different types of hanging hardware, but it also, I love whenever you were talking, Amanda, about sticking out from the wall. So you've got this space from the wall and then the acrylic. So this is, let me try to figure out how to turn it around without showing the glare. This is the exception to my glare rule. Because you're not going to get a matte acrylic, but it's just a statement piece. I usually try to choose for acrylics. I love things that have light in it. Of course, all of our pictures have light, but what I mean is like a sun flare, some sort of, if there's an artificial light that was in the photo, like some sort of ambient light, I mean, a lamp or a street light or something like that. Something about the acrylic in the glare works for that for me. So again, part of knowing the photo that you're selling and offering what you think, or, you know, steering your client to what you think is actually best for that portrait, I think is an important part of what we do. And there was one more thing that I wanted to say when we were talking about this episode and helping photographers choose the wall art that they want to offer to their clients and whatnot. Amanda, you mentioned sample sales and getting different samples, and just so that you can show your work on, you know, and let your clients touch it and feel it. If they'll hold a canvas or an album or a print or something in their hands, they're so much more likely to purchase it. So we want you to go out and get samples. I will say, there is a business decision that has to be made. And I have tried many canvas companies because I had done a project for Swift Galleries in the past, reviewing products for, this was 7 or 8 years ago. So I would get wall art products or different products from companies and I would review them on YouTube. And some of my favorite products were not the products that I offered to my clients. And that's a little hard as an artist, but I think a smart business move. So if I were telling you, like, if I'm starting over and I'm picking out all of my things from scratch, I think you need to be really proud of the product that you sell. You need to know that you're choosing a company that offers good quality. But sometimes your favorite product might not be cost effective for you, and you might not be able to fit it into your packages in a way that will sell. Because It doesn't do me any good to offer the best album out there or the best canvas or the best metal print if I have to charge a price that no one ever buys it. It's pretty on my price list, but it's not serving my clients with art on their walls. So I did not tell you what canvas company I purchased from on purpose. So I don't want to be mentioning any names, but my canvases in particular, I'm actually offering my second favorite to my clients. And I don't want it to come across as if I'm offering them a subpar product. The difference came down to small details that I didn't think my clients would notice the difference because they weren't holding them both at their hands, whether it was the weight of the product or the color of the staple versus the backing, the bumpers that were already included versus the bumpers that you stick on your, little things. Yep. So get samples, think about what you can offer in a cost-effective way that's still a really great product. That was long-winded, but I wanted to make sure to say it.
No, but that totally makes sense. I mean, at the end of the day, these are our businesses. We are making our living off of these, and we need to make money. And if we are, if we're basically just doing ourselves a disservice if we are, offering our clients something that most of them either won't buy because that price point doesn't work for them. We're just, it's not good business. And I think that most people just need to know their clients well. They need to know what packages they're going to be offering and what's going to be selling. As far as what I would also recommend, again, starting over, I think most people, when they're getting samples, they go small. But as Erin said, people buy what they see. And I really wish I just had spent a little extra during those sample sales when I started to get some bigger sample sizes. An 11 by 14 does not look huge on most people's walls. I wish I had splurged and gotten something a little bit bigger. The 8 by 10 standout that I started out with didn't really do anything. It wasn't as showstopper as the 16 by 20s. So going a little bit bigger, especially when your lab is having a sample sale, is a really great way to get a big piece that will make an impact, and your clients will see that. And again, they're going to want to buy what it is that you are showing them and what they see.
Whitney, did you ever go into Chris and Adrian's house when they were in Nashville?
Yes.
They had in the hallway, the staircase, maybe it was. Yeah. Do you remember how big that canvas was, or was it multiple?
I don't remember. It was I remember it was very big.
Huge.
And I do remember that.
Very big. No, you need to say huge. It was like 6 feet tall or more. I mean, it was.
Oh my gosh. Oh, wow.
I'm not kidding. It was like the wall was. Wow. It wasn't a photo of them or their family. It was a bride and a groom that they had photographed.
It was in their home?
It was in their home. Yeah. And it was a product sample. So when you approach, Chris is going to laugh when he's listening to this. But if you just found us, Chris is editing the podcast and he's our behind the scenes, does everything besides talking to the camera. But he had some sort of article write-up where they'd been featured, framed, and then it was impressive. And then this huge canvas. Yeah. It was breathtaking. And I think about it all the time whenever I'm putting artwork up about how I didn't know those people, but I walked in and I was like, and so I think that he did an excellent job of showing large canvases to sell,
and I think absolutely. And I think, that's one thing I'm grateful I did. Like, we bought those 30 by 40s. I had a much larger canvas as well that we ended up purchasing. And one of my canvases, if you're just listening, is of a bride walking with her dad through the rain to the wedding ceremony. It's a tent. It's not something a lot of people would typically choose, but it was something I loved. And I was like, I want people to choose images like that. And because I chose to display that, it put in my clients' minds, I don't have to pick a portrait.
Yes.
Like a traditional portrait. And even, and what made me think about that was the image And it was a portrait that Chris had on his wall, but it was more of a landscape.
It was.
It was
so
a
the people,
landscape, and
the people were not
tiny
huge in the photo, right?
Yeah. I mean, I remember, obviously it was very good because
I need to track it down.
Remember it. Yeah.
Share it.
Yeah. So it's, I think, when you're choosing these samples, choose an image that you love. It does.
Yeah.
None of the images I used for sample, maybe one, actually one of them, was something a client ended up choosing, but I chose my favorite images that really, spoke to me, so that then down the road, people would then actually buy images that were more unique, and they felt they could trust me and helping them make this decision. Yeah. And I did want to throw in there too. I love what you were saying about getting to know your client, because you really have to, I think you can absolutely choose from the best of the best labs. You can offer something that you charge thousands of dollars for, but you also have to think about what all is going to come from, like, where are you located? Are you doing what are you doing for that is that the market you want to serve? And what else are you doing? If you're not actually doing specific things to get into, let's say, high-end luxury market where you're working with celebrities, then, it's going to be a lot harder to just jump in and, with your clients and say, hey, you got to pay 10 grand for this. Like, it's just not. And there are a lot of people that'll say, oh, just charge more. And you can, but it's a lot more than just charging more. It's completely restructuring how you do your business. And working with those clients doesn't always feel good either.
It doesn't always bring you joy. It may not be what keeps you in the business for the long haul, if that's what.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, one of my worst experiences at a wedding was it was actually at a Belle Meade, which is like the richest. Yeah. Yes. And it was at somebody's home there. And it was like, it literally left me in tears. It was so terrible. And I was like, I don't,
That's not the client for you.
So.
Yeah. What I have found is that I have clients, I have a handful of clients that have a lot of money. A lot of money, and they're the clients that spend the least. That's what I have found, which I just find fascinating. I've got some, clients where I was like, fully expecting, knowing where they worked, what they do, who they were, who just bought the bare minimum. And so I feel like that's the other thing, is even if you do have clients that are high end, they're not necessarily the ones that are buying your high end products.
Yeah.
So something to keep in mind. Definitely want to know your
I feel like that's a whole episode. Yes. Because also, like, I have had, I'm thinking now, like, I have had amazing clients that were absolutely high-end luxury that were so great. And I've had clients that, would not be in that category that were terrible to me.
Yep.
Not that many. Almost all of my clients have been, I would say actually all of my clients, most of these I'm talking about are like either parents or where I was working as associate or something like that. So I just want to be clear. I loved all of my clients. I did. And I'm not just saying that. Thank you so much for joining us for this conversation on wall art. And thank you, Amanda and Erin, for sharing what you do. I love seeing what you're offering, seeing the acrylics and the metals. And now I'm like wanting to go order some for myself. So it was a great chat, and we will talk to you later.
Bye. See you next time.
Bye. Okay, Photo BFFs, if you have not subscribed, do that right now so you never miss a new episode. You can also find us at theeditweekly.com, where we have free resources and downloads for you to help grow your photo business.